Donato di Niccolò di Petobardi, also known as Donatello, was born in Florence, Italy around 1386. He came from a family with an artistic learning, and his father Niccolò di Petobardi was a member of Florentine Wool Combers Guild. Thus, this connection granted Donatello a certain social status as he was the son of a craftsman, which naturally led him on a path toward a career in arts and trades. Donatello's early education took place in a wealthy household of Martelli family, which is a well-known banking family in Florence, and known for their patronage of the arts and close ties with the Medici family. This relationship with the Martellis proved crucial in shaping his artistic foundation, which is likely exposed him to various forms of art and design. It is believed that he received his initial artistic training from a local goldsmith, which honed his skill in working with metal and crafting designs. In 1403, Donatello began in working for the renowned metalsmith and sculptor Lorenzo Ghiberti. His time with Ghiberti was very influential as Ghiberti was awarded the prestigious commission to create the bronze door for the baptistry of the Florence Cathedral, a job that attracted many people's attention and competition. Competing against the artist Filippo Brunelleschi, Ghiberti ultimately won, and Donatello played a significant role in assisting with the creation of these remarkable cathedral doors that would rather later be celebrated as a masterpiece of the Renaissance art. Donatello's artistic journey continued to flourish, and he was eventually became one of the most important figures of the Italian Renaissance, known for his innovative techniques and expressive sculptures. His work redefined the possibilities of three-dimensional form and expression in art. Unfortunately, he passed away under somewhat mysterious circumstances on December 13, 1466 in Florence. Donatello's contribution to art were immortalized, and he was laid to rest in the Basilica San Lorenzo, and honor that placed him alongside esteemed Cosimo de' Medici, signifying the deep respect and recognition he garnered during his lifetime.
This section presents the artworks and art style of Donatello and their relation to Renaissance. We have David made of bronze, St. George designed from a marble, and Mary Magdalene which was carved from wood. To begin with, the artwork David is one of his most famous pieces. It was inspired from the classic story of David and Goliath. David was associated with Florence's symbol of freedom and the ability to stand against larger powers. The larger power was analogous to Goliath, who is the giant character in the narrative literature. David is not only associated with Florence's political aspects, but was also connected to humanism, as the character emphasized human strength and intellect. Moving on, we have his another piece named St. George. The work was meant to reflect the Florentine spirit of holding strong against all adversaries. Politically, Florence encountered various conflicts with rival states like Milan. The statue was built to remind the citizen spirit, indicating strength, courage, and resilience. The depiction of St. George in a poised and heroic stance that aligns with the ideals of humanism, celebrating individual achievement and moral integrity. Then, we have the Mary Magdalene. As most of you know, the famous story of Mary Magdalene, who is a penitent sinner who reshaped her life from a sinner to becoming devoted to God. The character represents exploration of faith and the complexity of human emotion, embodying the Renaissance interest, individual experience, and spirituality. What about his art style? How does it affect the Renaissance art? Donatello's presentation of a more realistic anatomy and expression of emotion on his artworks, like the technique used in David, St. George, and Mary Magdalene, created a large impact on naturalism in Renaissance art, which influenced later artists like Michelangelo.
Here are Donatello's contributions to Renaissance in terms of science, technology, philosophy, history, and arts. Now let us begin in science. Here he had two major contributions. First was in anatomical studies. Donatello's detailed sculpture of the human body helped lay the foundation for modern anatomical studies, particularly in anatomy, medical illustrations, and understanding human movements. Second is proportion and measurement. He applied mathematical principle to his art. His study of proportion used in his artwork are golden ratio, geometry, and symmetry to understand human form. Donatello's pioneering work had a lasting impact on various scientific fields and on inspiring future artists, scientists, and medical professionals in demonstrating the interconnectedness of art and science. Now, his contribution in technology. It includes bronze casting, which he perfected the lost wax casting technique, allowing for more detailed bronze sculptures. This contribution had a great impact on alloy development, machine design, architectural features, and monumental sculpture. It had ripple effect on various fields such as mechanical engineering, art conservation, and industrial processes. Donatello's technological contributions continue to influence art and engineering in demonstrating an enduring impact on his innovative spirit. Now, let us proceed to contributions in philosophy. Here, he had also two major contributions. First was in humanism. Donatello's work embodied the humanist ideals for the Renaissance, emphasizing individualism, classical influence, and intellectual curiosity. The second one was Neoplatonism. His art reflected Neoplatonic ideas exploring the relationship between the physical and the spiritual worlds. His philosophical ideas continue to inspire artists, thinkers, and scholars from Renaissance period up to this moment. Now, let us proceed to Donatello's contribution in history. As a Renaissance pioneer, Donatello contributed in history by being a key figure in the early Renaissance period, paving the way for artists like Michelangelo, Raphael, and Leonardo da Vinci. He also contributed in Florence cultural development as a cultural and artistic hub. Donatello's innovative spirit, technical expertise, and artist skill inspired historians up to this day. Last will be about Donatello's contribution to Renaissance in terms of art. We all know that he has a lot, but let us discuss only those famous and significant contributions, including his techniques in innovating sculptures. These are perspective in sculpture, contrapposto, and asymmetrical pose, and his naturalistic depiction of emotions. He revolutionized sculpture during the early Renaissance and introduced these innovative techniques, bringing new life and realism to his works. His attention to detail and psychological depth set a new standard for sculptural art. Next art contribution will be his iconic masterpieces known as David, St. George, and Mary Magdalene. He used marble, bronze, and wood, evidence that he's pro at various mediums. Last will be his contribution in building the Florence Cathedral in collaboration with architects like Filippo Brunelleschi. These are some of his significant contributions during the Renaissance period.
Now presenting another artist in the Renaissance who brought art to life through the Pain Pieta, the Unforgettable David, and the world-renowned frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, and also one of the most prominent figures in the realm of art ever since the dawn of time, Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni, commonly known as Michelangelo. Michelangelo was an Italian Renaissance sculptor, painter, architect, and poet who greatly influenced the development of Western art and was dubbed Il Divino, which means divine one, and master of anatomy due to his apparent excellence in his artworks. Several art boasts a level of significance by ranking as the most popular masterpieces in history, making Michelangelo considered the greatest living artist during his lifetime. Moreover, his fame led to a more detailed documentation of his career compared to other artists in the era. He was the son of Ludovico di Leonardo Buonarroti Simoni and Francesca di Neri del Miniato de Siena, and the second oldest of 5 brothers. He formally nurtured this gift when he studied under sculptor Bertoldo di Giovanni at age 12. Then, from 1489 to 1492, Michelangelo studied classical sculpture at Florence Humanist Academy under Florentine ruler Lorenzo de' Medici. Additionally, Lorenzo de' Medici met Michelangelo in the apprentice under Italian painter Domenico Ghirlandaio. Michelangelo's most famous work include Pieta, David, and frescoes in the Sistine Chapel. However, his first artwork was Saint Anthony Tormented when he was 12 or 13 years old. His first sculpture was Madonna of the Steps, a relief homage to Donatello's Relievo Staccato technique when he was 15 years old. and his last artwork was sculpture of Randanini Pieta, which depicts the testament and meditation of the old artist about death and salvation of the soul.
As an Italian Renaissance artist, Michelangelo is renowned for his masterpieces, painting, sculpture, and architecture. With these, the artist thought of himself primarily as a sculptor. With all of his breathtaking creations contributes to the Renaissance era, into which some of his significant artwork are as follows. The Creation of Adam, commissioned by Pope Julius II, was built in 1508 to 1512, located in the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. The terrible incident shown in the creation of Adam was inspired from the biblical episodes found in the book of Genesis. This specific painting is unquestionably the most important episode of the series, as seen by the numerous tributes and reproductions that focus on it. The first man is created when God merely touches Adam's index finger. It represents mankind and is undoubtedly the most sacred picture in Western art history as it represents humanity. The painting is a part of the monumental fresco that is divided into 9 distinct panels and covers the entire ceiling of the chapel. The painting uses a fresco technique which involves applying color directly to freshly spread and damp plaster. The statue of David was originally commissioned in 1464 by the Opera del Duomo for the Florence Cathedral. It was intended to be raised into one of the cathedral's tribunes and was carved from a block of marble that had been partially blocked out by other sculptors and left outdoors. It was created using a mallet and chisels to free a figure from a marble block, making a subtractive sculpture. It was first supposed to remain at Piazza della Signoria until 1873, at which point it was relocated to the Accademia Gallery to shield it from additional weathering and damage. One of Michelangelo's acclaimed works of architecture is St. Peter's Basilica, which took almost 120 years to be completely built in Rome, Italy's Vatican City. Paul III commissioned the aged Michelangelo as chief architect. In order to sustain the enormous dome, Michelangelo added supporting piers to the final design. This Renaissance architecture has many notable Baroque elements, based on the Roman Pantheon. With the help of other architects in the creation, the basilica was built, making it one of the 4 major basilicas in the world to this day.
Michelangelo's impact spanned multiple fields, most notably in art, but his influence also touched science, technology, philosophy, and history. In art, Michelangelo's contributions to art are monumental, influencing both the Renaissance and later artistic movements. His works like the Sistine Chapel ceiling, David, and Pieta demonstrate mastery over the human form, innovative use of perspective, and groundbreaking techniques. Michelangelo's emphasis on realism, anatomical precision, and the emotional intensity in his figures set a new standard in art, inspiring generations of artists and defining Renaissance ideals. In technology, Michelangelo's work in architecture also required significant technical skill and innovation. Notably, his design of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican exemplified advanced architectural understanding. He created a structurally innovative dome whose design was unprecedented for its size and shape, influencing dome engineering. His approaches to sculpture, including techniques for extracting large marble blocks and refining surfaces, pushed the boundaries of sculptural technology of the time. In philosophy, Michelangelo was deeply influenced by Neoplatonism, a philosophical movement that sought to reconcile classical philosophy with Christian theology. This is evident in his work, where the beauty of the human body is a reflection of divine beauty. Michelangelo's art often explores human struggle, divine grace, and the tension between earthly and spiritual realms, which mirrors Neoplatonic ideas about the elevation of the soul through beauty. In history, Michelangelo's works reflect and record the values, political influences, and religious tensions of the Renaissance. He worked under powerful patrons like the Medici family and multiple popes, and his art served as a political and religious statement. His works, particularly those for the Catholic Church, became symbols of the Church authority and its vision of a glorious, powerful faith, contributing to its historical legacy.